A lot of the time when I'm thinking about things, it becomes an issue to decide, is this correct or incorrect? Is there some intermediate place to settle? And when I'm thinking about things more than I'm being heart-centered, I struggle with things. But when I'm more heart-centered, it's not so black and white. And I begin to feel how it settles with me. And then with a little bit of meditation, an answer comes out. It's about listening to myself and caring about what I think. Or if it's somebody else's issue, listening and caring to what they say, and seeing if there's a way to live with that in a way that feels congruent. It's of particular interest because we face that every day with many decisions that we go through, and we have to be patient and take a perspective that is thoughtful rather than one that's knee-jerk.
And that's what always made you a good doctor for all these decades, by listening.
If you listen long enough, as I've said many times, your patient will tell you what the diagnosis is, and if you listen even longer, they'll tell you what you need to do. So what you really need to do is listen and care and shut up.
Right. But in the world,
that takes time.
In the world that we live in, Len, it seems that people have been programmed to take a side, to not listen, but to come in with a preconceived notion. This is the conditioned mind. The conditioning
That's right.
will tell you to pick a side on an issue, pick a party when you vote. All these kinds of things that divide and conquer because you're thinking from your conditioned mind. And the fact is, the heart doesn't take sides. The heart mind, the intuitive mind, can't take sides because by nature, the heart mind is the big, wide open lens that sees all sides. It's the empathetic nature within us.
It's patient.
It's patient because it has absorbed all possibilities, and it's seeking one thing, wholeness. Whereas the intellectual mind is seeking this side or that side. That's not wholeness. That's the trick that gets us trapped into being divided as a society, and divide and conquer works that way.
And that's what's happened. That's why we go to war.
And we don't even realize it's happened. We think we're doing the right thing by taking a side, by having an opinion. And yeah, it's good to have an opinion, but the fact is, if that runs your choices, you're impossible to be part of the other side by definition, because your conditioned mind says you're not like them and they're enemy.
You're doing what you're supposed to do, what the culture tells you is the right thing.
That's not heart-centered.
That's not authentic either.
That's not authentic at all.
So how do we go about making informed decisions that are thoughtful and heart-centered?
Well, just like you say, first you have to be patient. You have to fight the urge that I need an immediate answer now. You have to fight the urge to say, I don't need to take a stance on this issue yet. I don't like it. My first gut reaction is this is terrible, and that's an atrocity. But first I'm going to wait, and I'm going to observe and see what it makes me feel, and observe a little bit more of the experience. And then you might see something that surprises you.
So the metric you use, and I do too, actually, as I think about it, is to reflect on it and consider things that don't come to mind immediately, and then see how the real metric is your feeling. If your feeling is something that you can sense and it's aligned with who you are, then an answer comes. That's what happens in dreams a lot of the time. I'll go to bed with an issue that I'm thinking about, and then at 2 a.m. I'll wake up with this idea. I don't know where it comes from. Thank you, Akashic Records, and it provides the clarity that I need to know what's right, what's authentic, what's the loving thing to do, what's the community building answer, what's the way that we can solve something that's a challenging problem because it's complicated. The dream is such a magical tool for me.
And this world is a lot more complicated than we think. So we're seduced into thinking we know enough to make a choice. We're seduced into thinking we know everything when we hear a few things.
Yeah.
But Socrates was the one who said, the wise person realizes they don't know anything. And that's a weird thing. The person says, of course I know. I've read about all this.
Well, that's why we get help in the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
A thought is put in your head by somebody or something that is not mine. It's a new concept that I haven't thought about before. Where does that come from? It doesn't matter. But that's when a lot of things come to me. And sometimes I'll write it down in the middle of the night because I'm afraid I'll forget it, because I often do. And I'll look at the morning and go, that's brilliant. Or I'll look at it and go, what were you thinking? Yeah. It's we get information from multiple sources, and it's not all stuff that you want to follow.
And some of the stuff that comes from our conditioned mind, I call the intellectual and survival mind, they can't tap into that resource. Only the heart mind, the intuitive mind, can tap into, we call the Akasha, which simply is a Hindu word that means outside. It's the source of information outside. And neuroscience is showing us more and more that our thoughts aren't stored here. They are stored in a field around us.
That's right.
This morphogenic field is part of that. It's not the whole story, but the field is a very big energetic field.
Yes.
And if you want to really be in a place of an evolved consciousness, you have to somehow say, I can't trust my intellectual and survival minds to be the whole story. And the mind that I want to open up more is that conduit of the intuitive mind. That's when you get the gifts of empathy. That's the heart resonant view at 2 a.m. when you go, that's what I've been waiting for.
So when the brain goes to sleep, the intellectual mind goes to sleep, and the intuitive mind expresses itself
in the field.
In the field, because it's part of the field, and it's in exchange with the field in that state. There's a kind of awareness that's different than when you're awake, that is more absolute, meaning that you're
tricked into thinking it's absolute.
Yeah.
That's what conditioning does. Conditioned means you've been conditioned to think that you've got the right, you've landed on the answer. Anything that has specificity around it, measurement, judgment, run from it, because it will be the whole story.
Well, you may be influenced by people who are telling you things that are not right.
That's part of conditioning.
I mean, look at the political things that happen, and how those decisions are made, that you wonder where it came from. Yeah. And yet, when you're in your authentic, dreamlike state, a lot of the information that's given to you from that morphogenetic field can really be a comfort, because it resonates. Yeah. And when you know that, a lot of smart decisions are made. Not all, but a lot of smart decisions are made, because you're independent then of what the world around you was telling you that might be brainwashing you. I mean, we live in this little box. Yeah. How do you get out of that box? Well, dream time is one time when we get out of that box.
And we could be dreaming awake. I talk about dreaming awake all the time.
Lucid dreams.
No, being awake right now and realizing this is the dreaming.
Okay.
We are awake in a dream in this moment.
That's a good way to look at it.
Because why should I relegate that beautiful intuitive mind only to states of meditation, or only states of deep, quiet? Suppose I can keep that intuitive mind an active part of my thinking while the conditioned mind's doing its thing. But I know, like a meter, I know where that intuitive mind is in the process, and I'm going to allow this to be a bigger participant in my thinking and my choices. It's all mind, but these are a frequency bandwidth that's available to us that is amazingly resourceful. And I think it thinks better than the intellectual mind
when it resonates.
And it's
when
better.
you know when it resonates.
You have to identify it. If people don't know, it's just we call it an Italian jumbolt. It's just a big mishmash of mind, and we're just battling through it. But that's not really a cultivated person knows the divisions of their conditioned mind and its responses, and the intuitive mind and its gift and tap into the universal mind. And that's such a game changer. But it takes some patience and it takes some practice, and you've got to put it to the test every time. And when you watch yourself get tricked into taking a side, a knee-jerk Pavlovian response to take a side, it's your conditioned mind, because your heart mind won't do that. Mind is impossible to be conditioned. The heart is impossible to be conditioned.
It's a great concept.
It's an important one because that's the one you rely on. So now you have an inner guide, an inner barometer. It's not outside yourself. It's part of your field. And now I know what to trust in me. And if I have an automated emotion or response, it's not coming from my heart. It's coming from the conditioning. So once you identify, that's a first big step.
That takes time.
It takes time and practice.
That's because we get brainwashed when we're young.
Mamma mia.
And then we learn all these things that we think are truths. And that's the box that we tend to live in. And that's why people who are less educated sometimes don't go to college, haven't succeeded in any particular religion or way of thinking, can come from a box that's different because they're open to possibilities. And some of the scientific things that are learned are brilliant, are things that come from outside thinking because they haven't been confined to this box. It's an interesting way of looking at things and appreciating that a lot of people never had education that amounts to much because they were never brainwashed into thinking that the truth is only inside that box.
In medical research of iatrogenic diseases, which means it's not really it's a dis-ease. It's how the medical system
creates disease.
When you look at it back in the 18th century, in the 1700s, the people who lived longest were the farmers and the poor people who couldn't afford medical care. Check it out. It's fascinating research. So that means if you were too poor or too uneducated to be able to get medical care, you lived a healthier, longer life.
Well, we've seen that when doctors go on strike.
But really?
There is not an increase in the death rate. Okay.
It's sad commentary.
And sometimes it goes down because the things that we impose have problems. And when you look at the number of people who die every year from just pharmaceutical drugs, depending on the study that you look at, that number will vary anywhere from 250,000 to 1 million. Now you're looking at it as possibly being the leading cause of death. So when people years ago didn't listen to the doctor, and because they didn't have them around, they did better.
Yeah. And they also were more likely to be people who are outside in the sun more, working with their hands, being a little more fit, working in the dirt, planting and growing their own food. So there was a lot of factors that gave them an edge than the people who lived in the city, had the jobs, had the stress, had the doctors. So I think it's a good lesson for us all to remember that, first of all, sunlight is critical.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, it's such the...
If there's no sun, there's no life on Earth.
Right.
No human life on Earth.
And there's a lot of inhuman people trying to shut down the sun right now.
I know.
With programs you can read about aluminum,
why.
powder and stuff. So it's each of us can make a choice to say, how can I get a little bit more time in the sun? How can I maybe go walk a mile or two every day?
Stay fit.
How can I stay fit? I don't have to go to the gym, but there's certain things we can do.
How can you reduce stress?
How
can you get enough sleep?
Yeah,
all those things are lifestyle oriented that are the most powerful medicine that we have.
Yeah.
When we have physical diseases, biochemical diseases, anatomical diseases, they all happen for a reason. And it's usually a faulty lifestyle of some kind. Yeah. We get detached from living in nature and eating things that are grown in the ground, that are not adulterated. We've poisoned our food, water, air, and soil.
So sad.
And we wonder why we're not doing so well. We may live longer, but who doesn't have a disease? And who's over age 65 that's not taking 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 medications whose interactions we don't even know about? Then you wonder why it could be that there are 1 million people every year that are dying from the medical system itself, and there are only 600,000 people dying from heart attacks and strokes, which is supposed to be the leading cause of death, or cancers, which is about the same number. You have to look at what you're doing and realize that you have to be careful about doing things to people, and that's why things change in medical research. When I went to medical school a long time ago in the 60s, what we professed as truth was different than what we see today. Yeah. And it's not all because technology has gotten better, but some of it is. So knowing what to do when is a big deal. And it will determine what kind of outcome you get. And if you think that everybody's the same, and you can follow the Merck manual with a list of treatments that are prescribed for everybody who has this single disease, keep in mind that of the 8 billion people on the planet, there are no two people the same.
Right. And I think we've lost a certain sense of self-worth. When we come back into that heart mind, that intuitive mind, and you drop into there for a few minutes every day, you realize I am an absolute unique expression of this infinite consciousness. And if that was true, then my body is an infinitely unique expression of a human body. Therefore, I can't be applied to as a cookie cutter solution.
Well, that's what's offered most of the time.
And I get that. And I get that it's better for big corporations to have a cookie cutter approach to help more people. And maybe it does help some people. But if you're watching this video, most likely you have enough self-respect that you know something is not right. And you know that you're a unique person, that you're on the path of self-discovery, which means understanding and appreciating your unique nature. When that happens, you can start listening to your intuitive mind and know that the real healer is you. And that within you is that wisdom that knows exactly what you need to do. And maybe it will be eating better, going out in the sun. Maybe it will be stopping to eat some processed food. Maybe you have to make a decision to make more of your food organic.
What you think and believe has a powerful effect on your health.
And the actions you take from that and the choices you make are influential at every level of your body, mind, and spirit. And I know that sometimes I look and I go, oh, I really can save money if I bought the non-organic broccoli.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
You know, and it's like a tempting thing because I might save $2-3. And, you know, money is tight these days for people.
Yeah, but how much does it cost when you're sick and your body's not functioning right?
So I realize that I have made a commitment to make sure that as much as I can, I eat organic. And
you got to get exercise. You got to get sleep. You got to reduce stress. You got to avoid the toxic chemicals that are in the environment. And it's impossible in this culture to do all those things because things have already happened that you can't change.
Sure.
But you can do some things about slowly integrating exercise, slowly getting more sleep, slowly eating better food, and what you can detoxify by fasting a little bit. Right. There are a lot of things that are available to all of us, but we get into ruts and we are vulnerable to ads that are on television and the radio and in magazines that are giving us information that's bad, that's incorrect, that's wrong, that's harmful.
But this is where the skill building of hearing something and catching that moment where you're reacting to it as, wow, that sounds great, and then stopping and say, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to act on that. And it's choices. It's all about choices. I mean, I make a choice to have a 40-hour fast once a month. That's me. By not eating those 3 or 4 meals in a sequence, first I save a little bit of money. And that means now that I'm going to put a little extra money in my budget to make sure I can afford more organic. Secondly, it gives me a little bit more time, not cooking 3 or 4 meals. That's 3 or 4 hours to myself. I can use to cultivate things I love to do. Maybe things I made an excuse that I couldn't do. I don't have time to play my piano. I don't have time to play guitar. I don't have time to go for a walk. Now I've created time. So there are things we can do, even if you feel like you're tight in a budget or tight in a time limit. There are things you can do to make choices. And it's a great feeling to say, wow, I can take control back when I listen to my intuitive mind that says, I better do this for my own good.
It usually knows things better than your intellectual mind that tends to procrastinate and to defer doing things that are important to make you stay healthy and happy.
Yeah. Choices. Making those choices from the heart. And trusting that you know more than you think you know. Right? I don't think people give themselves enough credit.
Amen.